Alright, so Mad Max Fury Road came out this year. It came out in May. And just recently the Blu-ray came out, and I got this cool little steelbook from Best Buy, and I like it a lot. It was like a month ago when it came out. I remember the trailers came out sometime last year, and I was enthralled by them, and I was really looking forward to this film. It was probably my most hyped film of the summer, prior to and afterwards, because it lived up to the hype. I really enjoyed it. This is probably going to be my most in-depth review of the film. I've reviewed it a couple times already on the internet, but I will talk about it more here because I love this movie and I like to talk about it quite a bit. So without saying, it's going to be pretty spoiler heavy. If that turns you off, then I guess don't watch this. You should probably watch the movie if you haven't seen it, though. It's a good one. Mad Max Fury Road came out in May. It was directed by George Miller, and it stars Tom Hardy as the titular Max. It has Charlize Theron as Furiosa, and it has the guy who played Toe Cutter from the original Mad Max is playing Immortan Joe. And also has various other people, like Nicholas Hoult is playing Nux. Some of the characters are never really named, and sometimes it gets a little confusing. But I have found that with multiple watches, and especially with subtitles at home, it gets a little more coherent. So I've basically been keeping up with this film and how the world perceived it ever since it came out, because I saw it 3 times when it was in theaters, and I will say that my opinion of it has never really changed. If anything, it's just gotten better each time. The more that I understand it, and the more I get into the characters and kind of think about their backstories and all that kind of stuff, that's the more fun I have with the movie, and the more questions that I find myself asking about it. That's, to me, good storytelling, and that's how a movie should make you feel. It shouldn't have everything just kind of handed to you and spelled out. It should have little bits of information that it just kind of leaves you asking questions. And I feel like the questions are probably more satisfying than any answer to them could be, if that makes sense. Kind of touching on the vague backstory a little bit. Immortan Joe's worshipped as a god, and he controls all the water, and he has just like these legions of people that are like slaves, basically, and in the War Boys. It's very interesting how they kind of worship the engine, and they're really into like doing this for like V8 and like Valhalla and all that stuff. I find that very intriguing that he basically created his own religion, and films have done the dictator thing before. I don't ever feel like they're built up as well. Like, I felt like this was one of the best build-ups for a villain. As goofy as his name is and as goofy as he looks, I love it. Even though he looks ridiculous, it works so good. Example, one shot when it goes in to the cab of his car, and it's just his hair blowing, and it looks kind of silly, but the look in his eyes and the music and everything that's happening in the movie makes it look so cool. The film's about Furiosa, who goes rogue. She's on a mission to, I think, Gastown or Bullet Farm. Great names, by the way, for the locales. Great names. I love all the titles of every place in this film, and I love all the characters' names. They're all fantastic. And then Immortan Joe chases after her because it turns out that she has 5 of his prized breeders, and he has this weird society going, and everyone in it, or like all of his war boys, there's something wrong with their genes or something. What they are raised on isn't sustainable for human life, and they do not have a full life, and they refer to it as a half-life throughout the film. I mean, they're basically battle fodder, but it's implied that regardless, they're not going to have a very long life. Him and his war boys, they all go after Furiosa, and it's just so extravagant. Immortan Joe just has this ridiculous vehicle that's like a monster truck with 2 cars stacked on top of it. And I've got to praise the way this guy plays Immortan Joe, because you look at him and he looks insane. He looks absolutely ridiculous. And it's really kind of weird and intimidating in a way, and the way his voice booms really helps with that. But I have to say that this character is not played at all in a hammy fashion. He's played pretty straight, and throughout the whole movie he's very emotional, and he really cares about his wives and really doesn't want them to get hurt, but he really wants them to get back, and he really wants to get even for this whole debacle. He plays it really well. That could have ruined the whole movie if he had hammed that up. And how weird are all of Immortan Joe's kids? Rictus and Corpus, I believe, are their names. Yeah, and Rictus is like all big and has oxygen, and Corpus is kind of weird looking, and he looks like he's out of the movie Dune. He does look like he's from Dune. Oh yeah, the Duforier. That dude is so metal. Just so metal. This whole movie's metal. But this guy is playing a double neck guitar that's shooting flames. And they actually built that. And they had a guy actually play it who actually plays music. And that's pretty rad. It's weird, but it's rad. As they're chasing on after Furiosa, he's basically using Max, like, hitched up as his energy source onto the vehicle, and it's ridiculous. It's really funny and really cool. They're chasing after Furiosa. What happens is they go in this huge storm, and afterwards everyone's all mixed up, and then Furiosa and Max eventually cross paths. They have a little altercation, and then he kind of helps them out on their way away from Morton Joe. And then Morton Joe gets stuck. Furiosa's trying to take the five wives, and Max and Nux is eventually there too, to the green place, which turned into the blue place, incidentally. The five wives are fantastic. I love them all, and my favorite's probably the Dag. She's very feisty, and I feel like she's the most poetic and also the most opinionated out of the group, and I like her a lot. The one that Lenny Kravitz's daughter plays is pretty good. She's probably the most strong-willed of the whole bunch. Yeah, the other three are all good. They have a really great dynamic together. I feel like they add a lot more to the movie than they might be given credit for. And they have a lot of great interactions between themselves and with the other characters. Five Wives are awesome. They finally meet up with some old ladies that, Furiosa kind of knew from a past life. Had clans in common with, something along those lines. Once again, never fully explained. And they go back and they decide to take over the Citadel. It's Joe's palace. They go back to take it over, and then it converts from being a chase movie into a race, because then Joe's going back after him. Yeah, it has a really crazy finale. That's when the polecats come out. It's very simple, and I think that's another issue that people have with this film, is that it's people they're driving in one direction and then they turn around, and that's the whole film for 2 hours, and that actually is what it is. It was just a real, true-to-life movie, and it's how filmmaking should be. And it was just energetic and kinetic, and every adjective that I could throw on it. The only things I didn't like about the film, nothing. I actually like pretty much everything about it. The way I view the Mad Max series is that it's nothing to do with chronology. The first film is definitely the first, but after that, I feel like they're all legends that are told about the Max character. And I feel like this particular legend is how he stopped an oppressive warlord in a very trying time for society. And he was very pivotal in that, and he is very important to the story, despite the fact that Furiosa is probably the most important character and definitely the most developed. Charlize Theron is just an absolute delight in this movie. She really steals the whole show, and I feel like she gives probably one of the strongest performances of her whole career, and a career full of insanely strong performances. So, you rule, Charlize Theron. You're, one of the best. But her character is fleshed out the most out of anyone. She's given a full arc. There's this one great scene towards the end where she's just walking through the desert and she just loses it. And it's after they meet up with the older women. I can't remember what they're called. It's like a play on vulva. It's weird. It's a weird word. After they meet up with the vulva ladies, yeah, she has this great moment where she just collapses in the sand. And it just feels so authentic. It's good. It's really good. I have seen some criticisms about Tom Hardy as Max and that he plays it too stiff. I feel like any stiffness in his performance could probably be attributed to the fact that this was just a grueling shoot. But I don't have any problems with this performance in this movie. I feel like it's solid. It's funny when he tries to imitate Mel Gibson, when he does the twitches at the end. He's like, "I'm Max." That's a little funny and goofy, but it's good. Like, I don't have any problems with it. His performance was fine. He was just a good leading man. He played off of Charlize Theron pretty well, especially considering I read that they didn't get along too well either. But I felt like they had a decent enough chemistry for the type of relationship the two characters had in the film. The dynamic that he had with her in The Five Wives was fantastic and really built to something great. I really enjoyed that quite a bit. And I think it was kind of interesting that Mad Max, the title character, never had a scene with the main villain, Immortan Joe, which is kind of interesting. It's really well done, and it's shot really well. And I mean, I will be the 1 millionth person to praise the fact that this film is mostly shot in camera. There's some CGI touch-ups throughout, and magnificent usage of CGI because it's done just to the right amount. It looks fantastic. All the explosions are real. All the cars getting messed up are real. That's how film should be. That's just true, energetic filmmaking. George Miller really outdid himself his entire career on this movie. And I feel like it is definitely one of the best films of 2015. I consider it the definitive summer movie because it's creative and new, and even though it's extremely simplistic, that plays to its favor. I would say by the end of the film, it definitely plays to its favor. The the focus on visuals and atmosphere and the characters. But I feel like Mad Max Fury Road is an excellent film, and it holds up to me. It's only been out for 5 months, but I've seen it enough times to feel confident enough that my opinion will not change. I'll give it a break for a while and maybe not check it out for a little bit and go back in a couple months and see if I still feel the same. But so far, so good on Mad Max Fury Road because I'm a huge fan and I give it a perfect 5 out of 5. Thanks for watching.